Okay. Go ahead.
All right, the oil part. There would be, the train would pull in big tank carloads of crude oil, real crude stuff. Then they would have to pump that from the car. There was a house track right there where they'd pump that over into another big tank that stored this crude oil. And it was too thick to do anything with. So that's where the boiler come into where part of Dad's job was. He'd have to heat this oil to get it ready to put in the units, the trains, when they'd come in.
To kind of refine it.
That's what the pump house was for, was to keep that oil hot enough that they could put it in the engines when they come in. That was the other part. He would have to get up on the back of the trains and put water and oil. He put both of them in if whatever they needed. Now that was the thing about the boiler. That's why we called it the pump house. But that's where there was like the same kind of a boiler they'd have in a steam engine. And that's how they keep the oil hot so they could move it around to get it in. Otherwise, there was no way they could get that cold oil.
Because it was too
up in the
viscous.
Engine.
The oil was too viscous and it wouldn't flow if it was colder.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this wasn't a one-man job because he had a gang to...
No, it was that was his job to take care of all that during the day.
But what did his gang do? Didn't he have a gang?
Well, that was another job altogether. That's when he was still... This is when we lived at Tintic for all those years. That's what he done.
But when you were really small and you guys lived in that train car, didn't you live in a train car?
You're going back to another era.
Before steam? What was before steam?
Well, I got to back up again. First of all, Dad went to work on the railroad, and he got pumpers right, what they call pumpers rights. That's how we finally wound up at Tintic, that part of his seniority. So then, shortly after he was on that job, they made him a gang foreman, which put him out on the road doing water service, anything to do with water service. And then in the 30s, when they laid everybody off, they had, I think, about 3 gang foremans on the railroad. And, of course, Dad was the youngest of the 3, I think. But he had these rights as a pumper. And that's the reason we went to Tintic. There was an older guy bid the job in, and if he could have climbed up to the softener, we'd have been down to Kelso, California. But that's how Dad got the job right there. And then we spent, quite a few years as kids right there.
In Tintic, yeah.
Pause for just a second.